All right, we are live. I am back with the illustrious Gavin Stone, and we're covering a subject that it's been going on for a few months since the original event happened. And I'm going to say event because I'm so confused about the situation. I don't even know what to do. I saw the video drop last Friday. I started to look through it. There were issues in it. It was very, very confusing. We are, of course, talking about the attack on Paul Pelosi with David DePape, apparently, or DePape, DePape or DePape. I was thinking it was David DePape, but then in the police interview, she said David DePape or DePape, or I mean, who is an interesting character. So Gavin and I are trying something completely different here, and I hope all of you can hang in with us, but we're kind of observing and investigating on the fly. So it's probably going to be a little bit sloppy, a little bit confusing, because the amount of actual body language is a very narrow window, but there's a whole lot of statement analysis and there's a whole lot of mystery going on. So I kind of want to start looking at this in a more holistic manner, especially with Gavin. Not that, for example, Gavin would know anything about breaking into places, but I heard a rumor he could, that he might have known people who did it or
only
something like that. Only for good. So it's kind of a well-rounded approach of like, let's just look at this, and we're going to look at the different components, or at least parts of each components for next hour or so, and try to figure out what's going on together. So literally, I'm going to start with the preceding the event, which is the break-in.
Okay.
So we're going to look at the break-in, then we're going to look at the 911 call. Then we're going to look at the police arrival. Then we'll look at some of the police interview with the suspect. And then we're going to look at a call-in from the suspect that just puts an amazing capper on this whole sordid situation. So I hope everybody enjoys it. I think it's going to be an interesting thing, and I'm not going to hold anybody up too long because there's so much to cover. And starting off, though, pausing in the backyard, what in God's name is that? My wife was pointing out that it almost looks like a bed reflected in the window. It's very weird looking. I'm guessing that maybe it's a fire pit with stuff around it. It's very, very hard to tell. The focus is being pulled by the leaves, so I think it screws things up. Plus, it's at night. But let's go ahead and look at this to start. And let me see if I have my notes. Okay, and we're going to go here. I'm going to have to skip around at points because some of these things linger for a while. Like this is starting out kind of weird. Here he is, kind of walking up. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? It's like he's looking right at the camera there for a second.
You can see he's very casual when he does it as well. He's kind of just like somebody who's browsing around in a shop doing their shopping. He doesn't seem overly concerned.
Yeah. Now, is this a typical? I mean, you could say he's staking the joint.
Yeah. This is a bit. There's a slight jump here.
What is that jump? Because it is odd that there is that cut. Is this a motion sensor situation where?
I think it's just been cut for the benefit of us. What's happened is he came up.
No, it's not. Look at the time.
Right, yeah.
The time. Now, see, this is why I want to look at this stuff. Okay, 5:10, 11. Oh, there we go. 5:06:42. So
nearly 2 minutes.
Okay, so 2 minute jump. Okay.
Yeah.
So it must be motion sensor.
Possibly. I know that when he came first time, he came up with nothing. Now he's got this big kind of gym sack, a small day sack, and a big old.
Now, is he moving in? Good God! There's so much stuff this guy has.
Yeah.
It looks like he's moving into the place. I mean, is that what you bring with you for your average break-in?
Me certainly not. stick of chewing gum and a Leatherman tool's about all I need most of the time. But yeah, no, he's got a lot of gear there. I don't know what half of it's for. And then there's a bit of a jump again when he's searching, getting the hammer and gloves, which interestingly enough, I think he gets one glove on and the other doesn't go on, and he dismisses the idea. So yeah,
that's significant too, Gavin. Hold on. Mm-hmm. The fact is, he pulled out gloves and he's putting on gloves. What would be the point of gloves?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, he's got to be aware, and I know he's already aware that there's cameras all not only in this house, but already around the whole neighborhood.
You
know
what?
Come back to that later. So
this is a good question. I thought he was homeless. That's all his belongings. Interesting question. I mean, I'm not being sarcastic. That's interesting. I want to point out the only reason I can think of for gloves is to not leave evidence of your presence. Mm-hmm. Or maybe to protect your hands, maybe. But in general, it's like, why would you want gloves unless you don't want people to know you were there? This is going to be important later. That's why I wanted to point it out. Mm-hmm. All right, so here we go. His actions are kind of amusing.
Yeah.
And by the way, in the bag, supposedly there was a second hammer.
All right. Okay.
Okay, now I want to point something out too. He's down here. Okay, somebody pointed out on Twitter, and this might make people crazy when I jump around, but I want to cover all the bases of some of the controversy. And somebody is pointing out, hey, where is this? Where are those bricks?
You wouldn't be able to see those through the night vision camera.
Exactly. And I wanted to point that out because if you look at it where I left off, he is stepping up onto something.
Yeah, there are steps there. No, the night vision camera wouldn't pick that up necessarily.
Here, casual stroll. Hey, you're out there to see.
There you go. You can see he's going up the steps there.
Yep. So I wanted to point it out because I want to address if there's a crazy conspiracy type of thing. Whatever.
No, this has been working off an infrared where, so the infrared lens is, and then there's like infrared bulbs that
they're shining light,
visible
light, yeah.
That's it.
Here we go, and he's just like really hammering at this. I don't know what in God's name he's doing here, and then what is this? This.
Now I can only assume that this was small shards of glass flying around, but it doesn't seem to be windy enough to me to warrant. You're looking at the leaves and the trees and everything else. It doesn't seem to be windy enough to me to warrant even the smallest shards of glass or that many of them. But maybe it's dust, sand. Who knows?
Yeah, or maybe it's somehow the infrared hitting the glass from a distance, causing a weird. Is it like a how sound reflects oddly, and that's another weird thing is. What? It's like he's really struggling. He's just beating the. Can't you just reach in and turn the damn knob, dude?
Apparently he tried. But,
look at this. And he's like, well, let me just step in complete. Okay. Well, there you go. Rather odd entry. So let's go on to the next thing. We have a 911 call.
Ooh.
Now, this is interesting. There's kind of a monitoring in the background of the time recording, timestamp, and it's a little bit distracting, but it is odd. So let's listen to the call. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Before we do that, somebody said, how did no one hear that? I'm going to make an assumption he doesn't think anybody's there. That it's empty. Well, I mean, if you're going to be swinging at that, I mean, that's abnormal, isn't it? I mean, wouldn't somebody be coming up to it? Wouldn't you be afraid somebody would hear it or see you?
I know I would. It wouldn't be a technique I'd use, but maybe he's relying on speed a little bit here. If he's
dude, that's the slowest speedy dude I've ever seen.
That's true.
I mean, come on. He's like, well,
he is very casual with the whole thing. To be honest with you, there doesn't seem to be much signs of nervousness.
Friday, October.
San Francisco Police 74.
2022.
Oh, I guess I called by mistake. What is this?
This is San Francisco Police. Do you need help?
Oh, well, there's a gentleman here just waiting for my wife to come back.
Okay, now I'm going to jump right in because statement analysis right away, everything I've studied would send, people pinging very quickly going.
Very much.
Typically, the casualness of the whole, who am I talking to? What's going on? I mean, there are people who are convicted off of 911 calls who answer the phone, and instead of saying, oh my God, we're bleeding, or oh my God, this is like a casual, who am I talking to? What's going on? Does that ring weird to you at all, Gavin?
Very much so. In fact, the first thing he should have said straight away would have been yes. The minute she said, can I send help? He should have said yes. There is possibly the fact that you can look at, he might have been a bit inebriated, maybe very tired, not fully woken up. There's a few different factors you can take into it. But overall, it just doesn't seem very, I don't know, normal. It's certainly not.
It could also be that he was under duress in the sense of, I don't want to, get this guy too upset. So I will throw that out there too as a possibility. Yeah. But I will say that behavior is a little bit of an odd.
The only other thing I can think of there is if he is, like you say, if he's feeling threatened, maybe David has at this point said, phone your wife, get her here. And he said, look, I'll make a phone call. I'll see if I can get her down here or something like that. Maybe he's trying to shield or cover his activity. It's possible that he could be trying to indicate that it's not 911 he's calling.
Okay. And Eric, yes, I just stated that the guy is staring at him. We know that he is listening to talk on the phone. How do we know? Well, you'll find out here in a second because he's talking too.
But yeah, it's it's possible he's trying to cover it, but who knows?
Yeah.
Pelosi.
2:23
he's just waiting for her to come back because he's not going to be here for a day, so I guess we'll have to wait.
Okay, do you need police, fire, or medical for anything?
8 seconds.
I don't think so.
2:23 and 58 seconds.
Is the Capitol Police around?
2:20.
No, this is San Francisco.
Take my wife. They're usually here. They're usually here at the house.
That is such an odd call. Now they're completely unique position because Speaker of the House does have Capitol Police that do offer protection in the House. So that's so odd. Are the Capitol Police around? Have you seen any of them?
It does seem a little bit of a weird kind of request, especially when you're on the on the phone to San Francisco Police. And again, when she's asked, this is the second time now, do you want help? And he's responded with, well, I don't think so. So, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make too much in the way of sense, but I don't know.
Protecting my wife.
No, this is San Francisco Police.
Friday, October.
I understand.
8, 2022.
Okay, well,
0:24 and 18 seconds.
Good.
There we go. Now he's talking to the guy.
He thinks everything's good. I've got a problem, but he thinks everything's good.
Okay. Call us back if you change your mind.
Okay, now on that, he does say, I think there's a problem, but he says everything's good. 911 operator, I'm hoping that they were paying attention. Now, the police did show up, so I'm going to assume the 911 operator said, yeah, send somebody there right away.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very interesting situation.
8
No. This gentleman just came into the house, and he wants to wait here for my wife to come home.
0, 2,
and so,
4 and 48.
Anyway,
do you know who the person is?
No, I don't know who he is. He has this. He's telling me not to. He's telling me not to do anything.
What is your address, sir?
2640 Broadway.
0:25 and 0.
What is your name?
Seconds.
My name is Paul Pelosi.
Friday.
Anyway, this gentleman says that he thinks everything ought to, he told me to put the phone down and just do what he said.
18 seconds.
Okay?
Okay, what's the gentleman's name?
I don't know. What's that? My name's David. The name is David.
His name's David.
Certainly not hiding much.
No. He's pretty open. So, okay.
So it doesn't need the fingerprint gloves in.
So let's go forward. And the police have been called. And now they're going to show up. Now, again, we don't know. Wow, how long are you going to take to run? Sorry, I'm trying to get the video to play. I upscaled it, so hopefully we see better. Okay. It's interesting. Now, I will say it is odd, but he does imply that there's a problem. And you can see he's talking around saying, well, he says this, he says that. So, he's having to cooperate with somebody there. And I don't know at this point how manic or anything else the guy is. I don't know what is necessarily going on. So now the police are coming up to the house and let's see what is going on.
Yeah. Fucking said 2620, right? No, 2640. Oh, 40. Yeah, it literally said in that.
Now, I wish the cop was turned toward the freaking door.
Yeah.
Right when this happened.
A little bit easier.
And because it's very hard to see what is going on here. But this is the part that a lot of people are very confused by. Okay, so there's DePape on the left by the door. There's Paul Pelosi to the right. Here we go. Now, this is an interesting positioning. Pelosi seems to have a hold of his arm or the hammer. I can't quite.
I think the hammer. I think just under the head of the hammer, he's gripping the shaft of the hammer.
Yeah, okay.
How you
On
doing?
the other hand, he has a glass, as one would.
Yeah. But yeah, while you're in the house with an attacker, that's what everybody does. They pour themselves a beer and hold it while they answer the door to the police. David's also got something in his left hand. I don't know whether it's a rag or what it is, but you don't see it until his hand comes over the top. I'm not sure what that is there.
Yeah,
it's not very clear. I've watched it so many times I couldn't make out what it was.
How you doing?
Yeah, it's so.
Well, I know when the police when he first answers the door, he's got his hand behind his back, which I don't know whether he's trying to put something in his pocket, drop something, or hide something.
Well, it looks like it's in his pocket. I kind of wonder if it's his glove.
I'm not sure.
Because he had the glove earlier. Okay, so
he's still, whatever it is, he's still in his hand when he reaches over, but can't make out what it is.
What's going on, man?
Yep, it's hanging over the arm there.
Interestingly, though,
you know what? They could be right. Eric could be right. Cut his hand. Yeah, and it could well be the glove. He has a towel around the wooden hand. Okay, that actually makes some sense. That makes some sense. Good eye, Eric.
Yeah, well spotted. Yeah. So they're I mean, obviously this whole thing here is very unusual. They're kind of with him standing front on, with Paul Pelosi to the side of him. The whole kind of scenario when the doors opened here, very informal to say the least. We can go into it a little bit more when we watch a little bit more, but it's just like kind of, they almost look like two siblings that have been fighting over a toy, and their mom's just come home, and what are you lads doing? Nothing.
Yeah, it does have that vibe. And
how you doing? How are you? What's going on, man? Everything's good.
God, his expression.
Yeah,
that is a Interesting look, like his tongue sort of in the corner of his mouth. Paul doesn't look very happy
No.
at this point. And okay, what let's back up and talk about one thing that people have been talking about. Who opened the door? I think personally that it's one of those handicap doors, or I don't know how you put it, but an automatic door where you punch the button and then the door swings open. And I think that's how Paul Pelosi was able to open the door with a drink in his hand. What are your thoughts?
I think that's definitely a possibility. And I can't see anything in the hinges there, whether it's something over the top that pulls the door around or what, I don't know. But if that is the case, I mean, it is a possibility. If it's not, then it does beg the question, now, so there's nothing on the frame there, like a motorized arm, and there's nothing on the hinges that I can see that would kind of create that kind of motion. Maybe, I don't know, it just seems very unusual.
Well, I don't know. I mean, look, the Pelosi's are not known for being poor. And okay, so Johnny's claiming that DePape opened it, or DePape opened it.
Okay.
So let's go back and see.
He's very
well, if he did open it, how did he open it?
From
with his hand on the hammer?
Yeah, one hand on the hammer, the other one behind his back with a rag.
And no, I don't think he did. No, his feet aren't moving. Let's see.
Doesn't look that way to me.
They're too stationary. I don't think that's the case. He's definitely, unless my eyes are completely just, his feet are locked. And I can go a little further. Hold on. Let's go very start here. Now let's see. This. Yeah, no, I don't.
No, his feet are planted on the floor there.
Well, that actually his left foot was slightly up, and that's part of the reason I don't think he did, because then he'd be actually hovering. Because that foot here is slightly up.
Yeah.
And how's it up in a movement? But anyway.
How you doing?
How are you?
What's going on, man?
Everything's good.
Okay, and that light definitely has them startled. Now, a couple things here. Do you think they know each other?
In a word, yeah. I think there's some kind of history or something that they've at least met each other before, because it seems really, really weird to me. That, like I say, when that door's opened and the police are like, "Hi guys," and he's there going, "Hi," and it just seems very
good earring, Jay.
The auto door beeps. I actually thought that was something on the police officer's radio or something.
Could be that too.
Yeah. So. But yeah, so very, very casual. The whole scenario is, and to go back to what I was saying about them just looking like two siblings fighting over a toy where their mom has just walked through the door. It's way too casual. If Pelosi is genuinely in fear of his life, why has he waited till now to try and like grab a hold of the hammer or whatever else? I mean, if there's police officers out there, I think the logical thing to do would be to dive out behind their protection and say, "Help, please, get him, stop him, arrest that man," whatever. That doesn't seem the time to get brave, but
okay. You see, now to push back, because I want to give all sides. How long were they talking? I mean, have they established, even in this little short window, a quote relationship and a slight degree of familiarity?
It is highly possible, judging by some of the statement analysis that we're going to come across a bit later on when we get to the interview, and I can cover as to why there seems to be some kind of a bond there.
Okay, and Nevinroll, yeah, the casualness of the hammer is an oddness that DePape is half kind of doing it, and Pelosi's kind of half doing it, and it does look like like they're hiding in front of mom. That is such a perfect analogy where they're both caught, both their hands are on it, and they're like,
give it me. No, you give it me.
but quietly kind of wrestling back and forth.
Yeah.
It's very very odd. And there is that weird look back too, but
Right.
And of course,
drop the hammer.
Nope. Hey.
What is going on right now?
okay. I am not going to show the rest of it because it's YouTube and I'd like to keep this going. But I will say that there is, in fact, a very full swing, and it does strike Paul Pelosi. I'm not going to argue in any way, shape, or form. There was actually a strike on Pelosi, and people have pointed out multiple times that Pelosi is on the floor snoring.
Yeah.
Now, I have seen I've seen videos like knockout videos and stuff, and people snore when they're knocked out. It's not at all uncommon. Gavin, what have you found on that?
I've seen it with everything from injuries to boxing matches, pub fights, all manner of things. Yes, it does happen. Even with people with everything from bullet wounds to stab wounds and so on and so forth. Any kind of paramedic or probably even boxer will be able to tell you that yes, it's not an uncommon thing, especially if the airway is restricted in any way, if they're lying funny on their side, if they've got a limb or a twisted area. Like I say, not an uncommon thing. So, it does happen.
And if they've been drinking
as well. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it happening. Nick, I know it's in the public domain. Please tell YouTube to give me a break, but no, just trust me on this. I know it's in the public domain. I know it's out there, but I also know that I don't need my channel hit with the demonetization and the video behind a paywall where you have to say you're an adult to watch it, because it happens a lot. So I'm not trying to be a pain in the neck about it. It is what it is. So now we're going to, this is going to be very tough. I apologize ahead of time. I have ran this through multiple tools in an attempt to clean up the sound. It just is garbage sound. What's up, San Francisco Police Department? Can you not mic a room where you bring suspects, for God's sake, all the time? It is ridiculous. I mean, it really is ridiculous. So I apologize ahead of time with the sound, but we're going to try to power through it and listen to a few elements here.
You have some questions?
I do, yeah. David, you spell your last name D-E-P-A-P-E? Okay, first name David, D-A-V-I-D. Do you have any middle name, David? Wait. Okay. David, what's your date of birth?
January 22nd,
22nd, 1980?
Yes.
Okay. And what's a good phone number for you?
I can't remember my phone number. I'll have to guess it. I think it's 479-203-8212.
479.
203? 8212. But that's a guess. I can't remember.
Okay, sure. And where do you stay?
Honestly, I know how to get there. I don't do it by the address. It's on Shasta Street.
Shafter in Berkeley?
Shasta.
Okay, so very uncertain of where he lives, what his phone number is. What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things that I noticed, I think we might have come in a little bit too late with that, but I didn't hear it on that particular occasion. But when she says, "Can I ask you a few questions?" he said, "I'd rather nap."
Yeah,
which I thought was very unusual. You think he'd probably want to tell his side of the story, but he'd rather have himself a little sleep. So yeah, that was unusual to start with. Secondly, to that, you've then got the fact that he couldn't remember his own phone number, which can be forgivable if maybe it's a new phone, maybe there are a number of things that he doesn't maybe call himself very often. I don't know. But, so he doesn't remember his own phone number. Most people do. And then thirdly, he also couldn't remember his own address. He said, I know how to get there, but I don't know what the address is. So...
Right, which is definitely odd. Now, okay, in fairness about the napping, could it be that, this is the result of a massive adrenaline dump?
Not at this stage.
With the cops and everything? Really?
Yeah. What will have happened at this point, he will have gone through processing, he'll have been put in a cell, he'll have been left there while the police go and sort out all their paperwork, what they're going to do, how they're going to work it, wait for other evidence, witnesses, blah, 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 to come in. He'll have probably been sitting there for quite an amount of time before they eventually go and open the cell door and say, right, we'd like to ask you some questions. So at that point, he'll have been able to relax and chill out for quite some time. So whether he's laid back and just got really, really tired and because he's been lying down for a while, or exhausted or what, I don't know, but that's usually the case. It's very rare that you are arrested, processed, and taken straight to an interview room. So it's a very unusual thing. There's normally a time where the police have to go and do their side of things before it gets to the interview. They have to set everything up and have everything in place.
Okay, all right.
Street in Richmond, it's along the border of Richmond and Oswego.
Is it an actual house or are you?
It's kind of like a garage on a house.
Is that something you pay rent or is it like a friend? Okay. So I just want to ask you a few questions, but first I want to... Okay,
so there you go. He lives in a garage, kind of, sort of. Weird. Okay, so let's move on to... Now, one of the things that came up is the place that he was living in is not what many people would expect as a hangout for a nutty right winger going after the Speaker of the House. the decorations, etc., were very much, shall we say, sympathetic, probably to the side of the aisle of Nancy Pelosi. And then I think the person he's living with, who I guess was part of a nudist wedding in San Francisco or Berkeley or something like that at City Hall, but was currently in prison for bad things with underage people, stated that this was not, that he was not right-winger, radical, anything like that. It was very unusual to this person.
Right.
So okay. I'm not sure where to go with that. We're going to skip forward a little bit more. We've got...
It was a poor plan. I mean, do you regret that you did this?
No, it needed to be done.
Okay, but Paul, the person you attacked is...
He was not my target. I even told him that.
Yeah.
So...
What was your plan with him?
Okay, I'm going to go through the transcript because it's such a nightmare to hear everyone. I hope that's okay. She's asking, and so you think it was a poor plan? I mean, do you regret that you did this? He replied, no, it needed to be done. Okay, but Paul, the person you attacked is first, he was not my target. I even told him that. Yes, so was your plan with him, knew he already told you she's not home. I'll tell you right. I basically get there and I see the best way to get in is probably the lower door. So I did, and she interrupts. You say a lower door, like a glass door? Yeah. Okay. And it was all glass. And so I hit it and I basically, how did you get in? Did you break it? It was not easy. I love how she kind of is talking over him during this. It's not super helpful, but that's what's being said. Let me.
He already told you she's not home.
I'll tell you.
Right.
So I basically get there and I see the best way to get in is probably the lower door. So
You say a lower door.
So there's a glass door.
Yeah.
And there's glass as well. Like I did it and and basically.
How did you get in? Like, did you break it?
It was not. That is like special.
Is that how you cut your hand?
Probably actually.
Yeah.
That
Right.
shit is on glass.
All right, there we go. And cut his hand, and it is safety glass of some kind.
Yeah. I really would love to catch a hold of this Sergeant Hurley and teach her how to interview people, because she keeps asking leading questions. Did you cut your glass? Instead of saying, how did you cut your hand? Is that how you cut your glass? Cut your hand doing this, doing that, and talking over him, telling him more what she wants him to say than asking him questions and waiting for the answers, not letting him finish, and then kind of cutting him off. It's an absolute nightmare.
You are right, Dirk. How can we trust the transcript? We're doing the best we can with what rules we have. It is a crap recording, and I don't have the 8-bit transcript. The transcript's a lot clearer to at least read, but it is very confusing. And okay, somebody's saying that it's not glass, it is security plexiglass.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it took so long and so much effort to breach it. Okay, that's fair, but there's a lot of shattered glass on the ground, shattered non-glass.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been plexiglass. That would have been laminated glass at a guess. That's why you have to break through the first layer of laminate. So have you ever seen those like windows where the layers of laminate, you can hit them and the inside shatters, or the outside shatters, but they're still intact. It's because there's several layers of glass to make it up, kind of thing. So that's why you've got all the tiny little shards that seem to be flying around. With regards to his question, there's a couple of things that when he was asked about the plan, and he said no, it needed to be done. Wasn't really what the question was, but there's a few things that I found wrong with it, because he said he had several targets, intentions of going to other people, doing other things. So you would have thought he wouldn't have wanted to get caught this early on if he had a list of targets and people that he wanted to go and do this to as well. So,
you mean like he put gloves on so there wouldn't be evidence, so he could continue on his mission?
That kind of thing. Maybe cover his face so the cameras didn't pick him up. Maybe not give his name down the phone to the police. Maybe not be standing in the doorway when they arrive and already be out of there because he knows they're on the way. Lots of things like this that kind of seemed to give the impression he wanted to get caught more so than he wanted to get away with it and go to the apparent other targets he had, which in itself is an interesting use of the word target. Not other people I wanted to do this to, not other people that needed to be spoken to, not people that needed to be something, not even the word people, the word target. And if anybody's worked in the intelligence community, and some people in the military as well, they will understand that, the target is usually the person that you're surveilling, person of interest, etc. So, and he said I even told him that. So, he wasn't really interested in Paul Pelosi, but his interests evidently soon changed.
Oh, yeah, it definitely did. So let's continue. Skip in a little bit more to 11 minutes.
Like they have an elevator, and it might be a safe room or something. It might be a safe room, so you can go in there to escape, and you can call through the camera, so you can call. So he tries to drive us there. I go over unarmed, and I'm like, don't be good.
I'm going to go back a little.
Unarmed, and I throw the hammer.
Yeah, I'm going to go back just a little bit. So,
okay.
1046.
1046.
He's talking about the encounter with Paul here.
Mm-hmm.
This point at the yes. So the whole time he's sitting there on the bed, and I told the hammer down. It's like I start taking up like wrist ties in my pocket so that I can restrain him, and said I don't have to worry about what he's doing. Right. Anyway, let's see if we can.
Yes. So the whole time he's sitting there on the bed, and I throw the hammer down so that it kind of lands on top of the pillows, and I start taking out the twist ties from my pocket so that I can restrain him, so I don't have to worry about what he's doing.
Right.
And at that point, that's when he kind of starts trying to do things, right? Like they have like an elevator, and it might be a safe room or something. It might be a safe room. So
now that part, Hurley's doing all right though. What?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh,
That's great.
Yeah. Hey, that's fascinating.
Yeah, that's what you should be doing. Encourage him to share more information. So there's a couple of things just before this I'm just going to bring up where he said he wasn't too specific when he was talking, asking a bunch of questions like that. One of the most interesting things he said is when she asked him what was your intention, and he said, well, honestly, I just want to tie you up. I just want to go to sleep. And I thought that was really, really interesting. This is twice he's mentioned this now.
Let's go back to that. Let's go back to that.
Yeah,
I skipped ahead. 8:56. Gotcha.
I think we just forward of that actually. I think we're 9:50.
Were you bleeding already at that point?
I didn't feel anything. Okay. Honestly, I didn't feel anything here until like the cops kind of like tackled me.
Yeah.
And so I started walking around looking for them, and it's like the house is like freaking empty, huge and empty. It's like I'm starting to think like, oh fuck, what if they're not even here?
So if you can just pause up there for a moment, all right?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. So he's like, it's empty. There's a weird dissociation going on here.
Well, there's a couple of things. First off, he's mentioned the fact that he said, I didn't feel any pain twice. Mm-hmm. So I assume he's referring to the cut. Yeah. Again, that could be argued. Adrenaline as got him not feeling that. No problem. I kind of get that. Interestingly, he said he didn't feel it until the cops tackled me, not tackled me. So that was an interesting change in tense. But then it gets really interesting when he said he's looking for Nancy Pelosi and he's gone in there for her. And then when he said he started looking around the house for them, it's like the house is empty. It's huge and empty. It's like I'm starting looking around. Oh, fuck. They are not even there. So now, again, they are not even there. They are not even here. So that was a bit of an unusual kind of thing because his tenses keep changing. And then twice just after that, he said, I don't remember what we were saying. I don't remember the specifics. And he's talking about how vague and the memories of the conversation were. I'm bringing this up for a specific reason that we'll come to a little bit later on.
Yes. All right. So let me see.
If we can get to 10:31 or thereabouts, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I already played that prior, but let's do it again.
Oh, no, 9:51 to 10:31.
That's where I was just now.
Oh, sorry.
All righty then.
Weekend, and it's kind of like.
What do you say?
Weekend maybe-ish, I think. I should be back probably the weekend. He wasn't too specific. And he was like, how can we resolve this? And I'm like, I don't know. And so he's kind of like asking that a bunch, and I'm like, I don't know, that's how to resolve this, I don't know. It's like, so what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, honestly, can I tie you up? I just want to fucking go to sleep.
Okay, so I just want to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. Now the Paul Pelosi, like, how can we handle negotiating? That makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. If somebody's an intruder, it's like, what can we do? How can we resolve this? What can we do? So, he wants to go to sleep again. Almost like he's just awakened into something.
Yeah, and the next from 10:33, he says something interesting as well.
And that is coming up.
And
you asked him you wanted to tie him up so you could go to sleep.
Yes.
Because you were winded from.
Yes, and I had to carry that fucking heavy backpack all the way here. And so then there's like a bunch of pillows lined up against the wall, stacked.
Is he still in the bed at this point?
Okay, so
yes, so the whole time he's sitting there on the bed, and I throw the hammer down so that it kind of like lands on top of pillows, and I start taking out like the twist ties from my pocket so that I can restrain it, so I don't have to worry about what he's doing.
Okay, so the walking here with this giant bag.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Well, why do you have to carry a giant bag? Why do you have to? Can't you get dropped off somewhere closer? That's a very odd odd thing.
Yeah. So somebody mentioned earlier in the comments that, and I've missed a lot of comments. I'm really sorry to everybody's comment I've missed. They mentioned that he may be homeless, and is that why he's carrying the bags? Well, we know that's not the case because we know he's living in a garage that he doesn't know the address to. But he does pay rent there. We know that much. The couple of other things that struck me as unusual here is when he said, "I had to carry that heavy backpack all the way here."
Mm-hmm.
You know, not I'm tired because I carried my backpack, because I brought my bags with me, because I brought a load of stuff with me. It's almost like he's been ordered, you must take all this stuff with you, which apparently, I mean, in my estimation, I reckon it had more than just another spare hammer in it. What was going on there, I don't know. There was 3 big bags that he had with him. But the fact that he said, I had to carry it here, that was something that was very unusual, in my opinion.
According to the New York Post, in DePape's backpack, police found another hammer, gloves, and a laptop.
Yeah, and what about because you
how about the
3...
rest of that content here? Okay, I carry a laptop, a ham. Come on, and it almost looked like he had 2 bags or something.
There was a small rucksack, there was a huge, massive backpack, and there was a kit bag as well, and they were all rammed with stuff. So either he's got a 500-piece almighty-sized backpack and the world's biggest hammer. Or he got a lot more on him.
Sledgehammer, that's what it was. No,
no, there was not a sledgehammer.
I'm joking, dude.
All right,
it would have helped him. It would have helped him with that window, because he is mightily struggling.
Yeah, mask and kind of band-aids off for his fingers would have probably helped.
Oh yeah.
And at that point, that's when he kind of starts trying to do things, right? Like they have like an elevator, and it might be a station or something. It might be a station.
All right, now we covered that prior. So let's see. I'm going to jump way ahead toward the end here.
So that bit that we just covered, I found it interesting. They said I go over unarmed, and we go back into the bedroom, and he also said, I don't remember what we were saying. Yet again, very unusual.
Dissociation.
Yeah. And again, you've got this thing where, for anybody who knows a little bit about statement analysis is what I call the unnecessary negatives. I have talked about them before. So for anybody who's new to this, an unnecessary negative is if I were to turn around and say something along the lines of, hi, Eric, I'm Gavin. I'm not a bank robber, and I'm from England. And of course, you wouldn't assume I'm a bank robber if I didn't put it in there. So it's unnecessary and it's a negative. I'm not a bank robber. So these stand out a lot in statement analysis. And this is now about the 5th or 6th time already that he said, I don't remember what we were saying. I don't remember what we're talking about. I have vague recollection, or everything's very negative when it comes to the memories of what's been said. Not what he's done. Everything he's done is crystal clear. All his actions are crystal clear so far. But he doesn't remember a word that's been said.
Yeah, and he's not hiding the fact that he broke in, he did this, he did that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no evasion.
Mm-hmm.
Stop me. It's like, if you stop me from going after evil, you will take the punishment instead.
At that point, though, how many times do you think you hit him?
I have no clue how many times I hit him.
Do you know where you hit him?
No clue. It went
You hit him with the hammer.
Yes, it went really quick. Like, I yanked it away from him. I swung at him, and the cops, like they opened the door, and like he's holding the hammer, and like I have to hold it, and it's like, it looks bad. And the cops are like surprised. They're like,
okay. He does not. Let me see if we got a little bit more to go.
They're like, whoa.
Okay.
And then I yanked the hammer away from him. I jump into action. They jump into action. They're like on top of me instantly. They like.
But you had already been able to hit him several times, right?
Yeah, yes. I have no clue how many times, but I definitely whatever.
Did you use like all your force, or were you just tapping, like warning, or were you not?
No, it was not a tap. It was full force.
Full force.
Yeah.
All right. Now in the video, how many times did you see him hit him?
Only once?
Only once for me too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very confused because I will say that the cops were a little slow on the uptake for a second, it seemed, but the second that hammer went, they were on him, swarming him.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he was going on and on claiming all these extra hits. That's very odd.
Well, we've got this kind of area of confusion where, which I don't get all the way through. He's known every single action. He's known everything he's done. He's known about carrying his backpack. He's known about how he broke in. Every second of how many times he hit the window, how he had to get in through the window. Everything he's done, going upstairs, moving from room to room. There's so much that he's aware of physically that he's done, but he can't remember any of the conversation. None of it. Not a single word throughout that transcript has been repeated from any of the conversation from his memory recall, which shows his memory is very hazy about the words. We don't know why, but he clearly remembers every single action. Then when we get to the action where he should have remembered it, and he's hit him with a hammer, he can't remember how many times he's hit him. He remembers exactly what the cops did, and he said, "I jumped, they jumped, blah blah blah," and he remembers all of everything before, all of everything after, but not how many strikes.
Okay, somebody asked to translate, so I'll just read through basically. I told him that I'm not going to surrender. I'm here for the fight, okay? And it's like if you stop me from going after evil, you will take the punishment instead. At that point, though, how many times did you think you hit him? I have no clue how many times I hit him. Do you know where you hit him? No clue. Okay, now, first off, everybody saw the interaction between them. Mm-hmm. At what point did he say, I'm not going to surrender. I'm here for the fight. Okay. And if you stop, you're going to take the punishment. And that's a pretty long statement. So yeah. I'm going to hope that he's saying that he told him that earlier, because he damn sure did not get all that out in their little exchange, which was just kind of looking at each other. There was not much said. Maybe he had it in his mind. I don't know. I will point out too, the thing of the swinging. I don't know what was going on. I'm swinging or whatever. Like, he could have still been trying to swing while the cops were holding him down. Mm-hmm. It makes me think of Sirhan. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with that footage, but Sirhan was tackled by multiple people who were holding him down, and he had the gun and he was going boom, 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 click, 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 click. I mean, he literally just kept firing while he was tackled completely. Yeah. And I brought up Sirhan for a reason. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, so there is it is kind of an interesting scenario there. Mm-hmm. So points to remember: target. Mm-hmm. You said that earlier, right? Yeah. Okay, so everybody note target. Meaningful word. Don't know why. I said Sirhan for some reason. Mm-hmm. Sleep, want to sleep. All this is pretty interesting. So we're going to move out of this particular part, the police interview, which I, again, apologize for the sound. I know it was atrocious. And we're going to listen to his call-in to a television station. And this call-in occurred Friday after the video was released, and it struck me as extraordinarily odd.
Okay, so what do you want to say? Because they released the video earlier today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes. What did you want? Thank you for calling me. What did you want to tell me?
Now that you all have seen the body cam footage, I have an important message for everyone in America. You're welcome. Freedom of liberty isn't dying.
You're welcome, Gavin.
Yeah, don't do me too many favors, will you?
I don't blame the anchor report. What?
Yeah.
it is a little like, wait, what?
Freedom of liberty isn't dying. It's being killed systematically and deliberately. The people killing it have names and addresses. So I got their names and addresses so I could pay them a little visit and have a heart-to-heart chat about their bad behavior.
Very creepy sounding. Mm-hmm. No question, this is very creepy sounding.
The tree of liberty needs watering.
Thank you, Thomas Jefferson.
Watering. You need men of valor, patriots willing to put their own lives on the line to stand in opposition to tyranny.
Okay, so far, does this feel like maybe it was written down?
Feels very much like a rehearsed speech.
I'd also like to apologize. I want to apologize to everyone. I messed up. What I did was really bad. I'm so sorry I didn't get more of them. It's my own fault. No one else is to blame. I should have come better prepared. I spent all my time exposing government corruption online, only to have them silence my freedom of speech as quickly as they could.
Crazy. Nick, good question. Why are prisoners allowed to make such calls? Well, because they're very handy when it comes to trial. Very handy. Now, tell me how this is going to play for a jury here. It's definitely not going to play well.
At the same time, I might be going really, really off track here, but I've got an app on my phone which I can send a photo, and like kind of 60 seconds later, there's a video of me singing Eminem's song or rap music song, or and it makes you wonder the way that it's very monotone with the technology we have, whether it is actually him. But again, you know, maybe I'm just going a bit too far with it. Monotone.
Interesting statement. Monotone.
Yeah.
Very, very, very specific choice of words there.
It's circumvented the Constitution in private industry. When the ruling class outsources the repression of your civil rights to private industry, it's called fascism. I have a lot more to say. I had a website of over 300 pages. That's 300 pages of stuff they don't want you to hear. I'm in the process of trying to set up a new site out of the reach of tyrannical global homo fascists and their internet censors.
Now, this just honestly, if this was in a classroom, I'd be saying, show your work.
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks like he just cribbed together notes of like whatever right-wing statements there are out there. And they just, you know, oh, a little this, a tree of liberty. Oh, got to use that. Thomas Jefferson. Fascism, blah, 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 on down the line. It just, such an odd bit, but very, very creepy.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Kevin.
No, I was just going back to that whole monotone thing, and you know, there are so many other things in here which I found very unusual. One of them was the fact that when he's talking, I did statement analysis on the transcript, and when he's talking about the time breaking into Paul Pelosi's house, he does refer to I and he. You know, I did this, he did that, I did this, he did that, up until the point where they went downstairs together, and then all of a sudden it changes to we. We did this, we went here, we went there. He even confesses that at one point he put his hand on his shoulder to comfort him in an affectionate way. You know, this is before the police arrived, and they were talking. So it seems a very unusual thing. Then after that kind of period where that had happened, he goes back to I and he again, and when the police knocked on the door. So, but yeah, very, very old, very unusual set of circumstances, to say the least.
Okay, Dirk, have you seen Ethan Suplee lately? He's a badass now, so I don't think you'll appreciate that comment. That is, and okay, so here we go. Eric, you think he's nuts? Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Nevin Rawl, somewhat homeless, nudist, whack job on lots of drugs. Don't expect sane language. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Yeah, it's very scripted, and I keep hearing this, you know, waking up, everything that you're pointing out, Gavin, and I've seen it in the chat. A lot of people pointed out it's got almost MK Ultra vibe. Now, before everybody says, "Oh, you're completely nuts. That can't happen. No way. This could never happen." Nobody can be hypnotized against their will. Nobody can ever do anything. Never, ever. Can't be coerced. They would never do anything against their will. Impossible. Completely impossible. Absolutely impossible.
We off. In our culture, we keep certain words in a special place in our brain. But I remember going to the Turkana people.
Okay, remember when I said Sirhan Sirhan? Very famously in Sirhan Sirhan, there was a woman in a polka dot dress. So note, we have a situation here with a woman in a polka dot dress. This is a modern thing that happened within like the last decade. Let's keep watching.
In northern Kenya. Kenya alone has 69 languages.
Okay, the gentleman who's speaking in the background is the national treasure, Stephen Fry, amazing comedian, great guy. So now she has been in there. I got to skip ahead because there are things like copyright strikes, folks. So I need to make sure this is fair use.
We're going to break it up.
Now let's continue on. This gentleman here is the subject. We're watching him. What's going on?
Been swamped by Swahili. That's the problem, you see. These other languages like Swahili are swamping Africa, just as English is swamping Europe and the world and the internet, and Mandarin Chinese is swamping the Orient. No one really understands how to save a language or whether a language is worth saving. France, for example, has the language of Oxford. And the French have...
The what?
That's an unusual word.
The what? Wait, whoa.
Save a language or whether a language is worth saving. France, for example, has the language of Oxford. And the French have absolutely no interest, the rest of France, in saving it. Indeed, I went to visit the Académie Française, which I'm sure you've heard of, which is a very extraordinary institution, the Academy of France.
But that doesn't mean anything. Just a random talk. Thank you, Madame Van Coop. Some kind of hypnosis or mind control. I don't know. I'm looking and seeing if it's even possible. If it's even possible.
So these ancient people who are great minds and thinkers, and they decide which words are allowed into the French language, which words are permissible, which words you might say are forbidden, and which words are not forbidden. So
let's go ahead and bump up a little bit. Okay, he's doing something down below here.
And so they made up, words that were not allowed to enter the
What's he doing, Gavin? What's he
whoa,
wait.
You can't.
What? Whoa.
And there you have it.
No way, that's not possible.
No,
I didn't see that.
Yep, it was done in another experiment again in Hollywood a few years ago. Where they
Stephen
did
Fry is okay, everyone.
Yeah, it was Darren Brown.
And let's go ahead and just see what this guy has to say for himself.
That we were filming, which was important. Do you remember that woman in the polka dot dress? No. Don't remember her turning around talking to you? No.
Now, how would you feel if you watched yourself do that?
Especially if you didn't have a memory of doing it, or how many times you pulled the trigger exactly, how many times you struck somebody with a hammer.
Yeah. It is, it's an interesting scenario. Now, I don't know what happened. Mad Scientist, you are correct. This is Darren Brown, the assassin. I highly recommend everybody check it out. That's not the only time he did it. There's another time, I believe Darren Brown did it as well then too, where they literally went through like kind of a game show selection. Not everybody can be flipped like this. Not everybody can be used like this. It is very difficult, and they did have to wean out people as they went. And in that production that I saw, they would do things that was pretty funny, like make them take off all their clothes in a public restaurant. And they could tell the fakers a lot easier because they're a little like self-conscious, but they wouldn't be self-conscious if they weren't faking. So they would just kind of eliminate people as they went. And they literally had somebody just, like get into a bathtub of ice water, like just completely soak themselves. And you can't fake that. The final candidate they had zero change in their pulse. It was completely off their radar. So Am I saying that's what happened? No. I'm just saying that it almost rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Gavin?
I would love to get Chase and Spidey to take a look at this as well and give me their opinions. They're both hypnosis experts, as well as Chase done a bit of mind control stuff as well. I think it's highly possible. I know it's highly possible. I've seen the psychological experiments done that have repeated this again and again and again with the same results. There's a lot of similarities, the tiredness, the in and out of sleep, the desire to want to be put back to sleep and not do things that you've been told to do. A lot of hazy and foggy memories, use of the word target, so many things that are almost identical, and a lot of inconsistencies that just, to me, scream that something's not quite right. Maybe it's just coincidence, but I'm not a huge believer in coincidence.
And neither am I. But you know what? Doesn't matter what Gavin and I think. We want to hear what you think. So please comment below. And my feelings won't be hurt if you're saying that I'm a complete whack job for pulling anything out there. I'm not saying it definitively. There we go.
Yay! We got the first
Thank
one.
you, Nick. Let's see. There was an American ripoff of the show in 2014. They tried to disprove it. They failed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to believe what they're going to believe or not. I'm just putting the information out there and asking the question. If you enjoy this kind of thing, please come back by. There's much more content. Definitely visit Gavin. And thank you, Chris Banks. I know I could count on you saying I'm a whack job.
Of course.
And who took the pulse? He was actually wired into electronics.
ECG machine, yeah.
ECG, thank you. So again, doesn't matter what you think, what Gavin thinks. I want to hear what you think. Please comment below. And until next time,